OG, OG, definite OG.
Welcome back, Kyle Gardner.
20 episodes ago.
So what up, my peoples? You know, you guys asked me pre-show, like, what is the one thing that surprised me from the other show? Well, two things. First of all, I picked up a lot of things that I said, like, you know, I think I said "that's so funny" a lot, or what was the other one? Like, let me tell you a story about that, or I don't know, something like that. I'll probably say it a bunch of times again because I'm not even going to realize it. Yeah, so that's pretty funny. I laughed at myself quite a bit. And then the other thing
everyone has that stuff for sure.
Right. And then the other thing was a couple people, well, first of all, more than a couple people, you know, a bunch of people listened to it. So thank you for that, you know. And then secondly, some people listen to it, you know, multiple times. So that's even better. Like, wow, those are some real fans right there. Like, they liked it so much they wanted to hear me talk again. Like, that surprised me in the first place. Someone actually wanted to listen to me talk, you know. I even debated if I wanted to listen to it. I was like, should I listen to me? Should I really hear what I have to say? Like, probably going to scrutinize myself, like, on everything I said. But no, I was actually, like, quite, I don't even know what the right term is. Like, I was just like, oh, yeah, he's making a good point there. And it was me.
Is eloquent the word you're looking for?
What is it?
Eloquent?
Yeah.
Loquacious. So here we go. We have to start this off right now. You ready? Welcome to this week's edition of the Michigan Bros Grow Show. We're welcoming back Kyle Gardner of First Class Gardens, and this is episode 24. You can find his earlier podcast on episode 4. Welcome back to the show, brother. Good to see you.
Good to see you guys, too. Thanks for having me back on here. Let's get right to it and talk about the hot topics that everyone wants to hear.
Gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story. And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen. Cannonball!
Which I don't really know what those are, so we're gonna have to talk them out.
Well, I do have a quick question for you because I saw on your Instagram that you made a post that you want to run all your own genetics soon. I can't remember what the date was.
Right.
So what's your plan in rolling from? I imagine you're running some of other genetics right now, so transitioning from that into all of your own stuff.
Yeah, I have. Well, since I've been started breeding, yeah, I've been slowly but surely kind of popping everything. And the reason I say slowly but surely is because I have such a plethora of seeds. I want to make sure that I find like the real like star of the bunch. So I pop quite a bit. So instead of popping like, you know, 5 of these, 5 of those, 5 of this, 5 of that, you know, and then trying to find like the one of one that's okay. Like I pop like lately, I think I've been popping right around like 20 to 25, and I think I end up like, of course, you know, close to, I'm gonna say almost 50-50ish, give or take, of males to females, and then you know, usually 1 or 2 sick ones, maybe 1 won't pop, whatever. I'll end up with usually right around like 10-ish, 15-ish females. So I've been trying to dedicate like a little bit bigger of a space to kind of finding like the one true like gem of the bunch, and then rolling with that. So yeah, right now I've been really cutting down. You know, I did clones real heavily a few years ago, which I really do want to get back to. Remind me to talk about that a little bit more later in the show about the clones. Because I know probably people that are listening, probably that's how most of these guys know me. So we'll talk about that sooner rather than later. But I've been cutting down on a lot of strains for that reason. So I've been really picking out the real gems of the bunch that I want to run for myself. And so I think I'm only down to like probably 3 or 4. Then I have a couple other that are in the stable that I kind of rotate through. But so I've been dedicating a little bit bigger of a portion to, you know, finding my own stuff. So, like, I found that sun drop number 4 and number 10 that I really love. I keep saying I want the 10 to replace the Moby Dick, but I don't know. Moby's just such a star for me. And I've even been thinking about paying the money to go to those tissue culture guys and kind of get the strain kind of revamped.
Gentlemen, we can rebuild him. We have the technology. We have the capability to make the world's...
I guess would kind of be incorrect terminology there. But, I don't know too much about that. I've kind of talked to the couple of them people somewhat, so I kind of have an idea. But, something like that strain that I just absolutely love, might be worth that, little bit of money to put out to kind of see, because when I got her, it was a little bit later on. For those of you who really don't know what I'm talking about, Vancouver just beat the Red Wings. They suck. Red Wings. They were just winning too. Really, they were just winning 2-1. What happened?
We started recording.
Yeah, I know. So fucking Red Wings. Anyway, I saw Blashill the other day. Another story. Anyway, so those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, a lot of people say when you run the same genetic for so long, and we might even talk about this on the first show. I probably should re-listen to that first show before I start talking on the same topics. But anyway, those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, people who run the same strain, they claim that over the course of time, I mean, we're talking years and years. This ain't 1 or 2 grows. I mean, it has the potential would be the word, or maybe it might not be the right word, but what could happen is it loses a little bit of that something special. So as I've been talking about, I go through, find that something special out of all these, 10, 15 females I have, and even that you should be popping more. But anyway, that's going to be my thing, getting off topic this time, my ADD watch. Plus, I'm on this Moby. I just smoked some Moby Dick, so I'm all over the place. But anyway, so you don't even know what I'm talking about. Moby Dick. Okay, getting off topic. The dick has the thing to lose that little something special. Lose that little bit of oil, lose that little bit of yield, lose that little bit of just ability to grow fast.
Yeah.
Whatever the case may be. So now with the science that's out, they really take it back to the Mary stem, or I don't want to misspeak and sound like a fool here, because I know probably people are gonna be like, hey,
that's all correct so far.
But yeah, basically they kind of take it back to that original mom. When you pop that seed, that original mom is just always just so healthy and just so vigorous, so ready to go. Yep, final 5-2 Vancouver. Was that 5 losing streak game now?
So you're gonna have a lab do tissue culture on the Moby for you?
Thank you. And so I'm thinking about it, yeah, because I'm not gonna say I've been noticing, because a lot of it is, I've been growing it here and there and another, but I've kind of been, maybe it's just the placebo effect, but just hearing that and maybe she could be something extra special. So, but getting all the way back to it now, I've only been running 4 or 5 different strains. So I'm down to I think one of the cream to mint. My son dropped 4. Moby. So I think I'm starting to have a lot of my own strains kind of creep in, and I think the latest one is the sun cream. I did a bunch of testers of those. Found one that was really had that really kind of grimy OG kind of smell to it that I really like. So I grabbed that one.
Can you tell the listeners what the cross is on that?
Sun cream, yeah, it's cookies and cream from Exotic time Sunshine Kush time by Midnight Roots, and that I did that one what last round, 2 rounds ago now. So yeah, that's the one that I kind of picked out. I had a bunch of females there, picked her out. So.
And going back to the Moby Dick, the cross on that is White Widow and Haze, correct?
Correct. Yeah. Yep.
And last but not least, another question in between all those things there is, we're talking about tissue culture. Have you kind of gotten an idea of, I was watching something the other day and it says it takes 6 months for it to be done.
Yeah.
Have you gotten a price on how much that would cost if someone else was interested in it?
You know, just throwing this out there, I want to say like $5,000. I've had that number stuck in my head for a minute now. I talked to, like I said, I had a couple conversations with some people and kind of picked their brain a little bit. And of course, you know, with all that information being thrown at you, not all of it's going to stick. So I think that's the number he threw at me was 5, because it kind of shocked me. I was like, oh, damn. But then it's like, well, you think about it. How much is that strain? What's the potential of that strain? I mean, hate to say it, but it equates to dollars, you know, especially with more of these commercial guys. You know, that Moby, I mean, I personally love it. I know some people that, well, actually, a lot of people love it. Some people just like, you know, I mean, I can't say some people just grow it for the size or, you know, anything like that, but that's definitely a plus with that, you know, ease of growth and, you know, size. And I mean, even if you look at it like oil wise, you know, if you look in there, that oil is definitely there. Percentage wise, I've never had a huge percentage wise return for it, but it's
well, that one's misleading because it seems like if you have it tested that the percentages are not, you know, off the charts percentages.
Well, I meant percentage return, like oil wise, like when we go to do like the oil return on it.
Oh yeah.
Percentage wise THC, it's still around. Like I think I've had it tested, and it always varies, and then there's always like, you know, the top bud versus the bottom bud's always going to test a little bit different too. But it's always in like the 19 to 20 range, 21 range. It's always right there. You know, it's got a little bit of a pack of punch. So.
And you originally hunted your Moby from seed, right?
No, it wasn't me.
No.
It wasn't me. And I actually ran into the dude not too long ago when I was actually still doing clones, who was the one that popped it. He was getting the Moby back from me. And he said, oh, hey, how did you get it? Oh, you know, so-and-so. And then conversation led to, oh, shit, this is kind of where I got it from. He's the original popper. He popped 50, he said. Is that the Moby right there?
Iron rails on which my very soul is grooved to run. Naught shall stop me, Mr. Starboard.
Oh, she blows! She blows to starboard! The white whale!
I love it. You know, kind of like we were talking about on our last show too. I think is the consistency. You know, a lot of these growers. I think you know, I can't speak for everyone, and I can only speak for the guys that I talk to. A lot of people are starting to maybe find them one or two real studs in their garden, you know, and keeping them around for a good lengthy amount of time. You know, flavors are awesome. Everyone wants the flavors, and you know, even me, like, jump for something else that's maybe new and exciting, but ultimately it's like, yeah, bam, back to the Moby Dick.
Yeah, let me put this up here for a minute here so people can see this, just for that nice color. And man, that's just.
Shout out to the Dabsmith there, right? He's got the shirt on too. Yeah, that's my dude.
That's my dude too, man.
That's my dude. Yeah.
You make so many good ones though, because like I've had your blue sherb cookies, the citrus tsunami. I mean, dude, you crush it, man. You put out the flavors and the funk, man. It's just nice.
Well, that's why it's tough to get away from the flavors too, because you know, I know people are always wanting something new and different and exciting. You know, as someone that's, you know, I guess more on like I hate to say it, but a commercial scale. I guess I wouldn't hate to say it, but just someone that's more old school. I guess tough to say out loud to the public. You know, you ultimately look for that consistency. You look for something that, you know, at the end of the day, that what you're going to get out of it.
It's viable.
Especially, you know, as far as like, you know, hitting certain numbers, hitting your quota, I guess, you know. I mean, I'm definitely in it to win it ultimately, but I'm in it to grow the best quality you can, but ultimately you still got to be producing X amount at the end of the day to keep the lights on. TT's demanding bitches, you know. So water's not so bad. Fertilizer, you know, yeah, it's there. But
Yeah, power never stops.
you know, as a grower, man, I'm having fun. I'll tell you what, like, I love this. It's kind of like this is an honest to God truth too. I went to Michigan, University of Michigan. You know, I'm a Wolverine for sure. When I was sitting in the, when I transferred over there, I sat in that administrative counselor's office. What was it? Academic advisor. That's what it was. I sat in this academic advisor because I stumbled through. You know, I took classes I wanted to take, which was sweet. You know, met some really cool people, learned a lot of cool things. And, you know, it got to this point where it was like, you really got to make a choice what direction you're headed in life. And by this time, like, take it back to when I was in the community college even. I started growing, like, right after high school. So I was growing, like, all through college. A small-ass grow. I started with my small grow, and I, like, impressed these girls. These girls came over. And I impressed them with it. And I just thought it was the coolest thing. They thought it was the coolest thing. And it was like, I mean, just right then and there, it's just that was one of them, like, defining moments where it was like, bam, stamped in it. You know, it's like I knew kind of what direction I was headed. So fast forward to when I'm sitting in this academic advisor and now racking up thousands of dollars, you know, in debt in school, you know, taking the dumbest classes, you know, now because I had to, because I picked an elective, you know. Switched it a couple times, going for this, going for that. Ultimately, I went for general studies, and, you know, that's cool. But, like, you know, she actually asked me, she's like, what do you want to do? You know, I think she kind of got a little frustrated with me. I was a little frustrated with her. She's like, what do you want to do with your life? I was like, I sat back. I was like, I just want to grow weed, you know? And she just was like, took him back, you know, like, but then she kind of thought about it, you know? She said, well, what about the biology? What about, you know, and we started trying to problem solve. And I was like, you know, ultimately, this is what everyone in this college is going to be doing, you know. Like, all the lawyers, think about all the lawyers are going to be defending all these pot cases. Think about all the doctors that are going to be having to deal with the medical marijuana, CBD, you know, all this shit nowadays. Engineers who are designing all the equipment, X, Y, and Z equipment, you know, like, and even all the smart people, chemists, people that run the equipment, you know. And then, yeah, ultimately horticulture, botanists, and everybody in between. So, you know, ultimately, Michigan didn't offer that great horticulture plan, and I knew that from the start. But I couldn't move. I was already committed in my life. I couldn't move all the way to state, and plus, that would have been way too hard for me to wear green. I love green. Don't get me wrong, but to wear them colors, couldn't do that. So went to Michigan, but.
You just made Sequence so happy with that statement. Look at him over there. He's just.
I was trying to think of a way to rib Spartan Grown, but this is good enough.
Hey, listen, like I said, they got versus like an Ohio State. Nah, I would not. You know what I mean? Like, but ultimately, like, you know, I love what I'm doing. Like, this is real cool, and I just hope it continues. You know, for now, things are awesome. Things are amazing. You know, we were kind of talking pre-show. Where's this all headed? And this is one thing. You know, some people are locked in. You know, shout out to a couple of my people that are really locked in. You know, they're really set in this medical way, and I think they are doing real well for themselves. You know, me, I was going to do something like that. I still could. You know, I had a couple people I might be talking to about getting involved as a grower in, you know, some of their operations, or, you know, helping them out, showing them, like, whatever. You know, and then doing it more of the organic way, like take an investor, I guess I could say, or doing it more the organic way, doing the caregiver thing. And now we were talking, you know, pre-show, the about the micro grows coming up. I think that's going to be kind of a real game changer too. The way that it's working now, you know, and you guys feel free to jump in and you know, correct me or add to, or, you know, whatever at any time. But, like, the caregivers are now have the opportunity to go to these big licensed grows. Not sure how that works as far as tax purposes or any of that goes, because I know, you know, it's going to be on paper and stuff.
They're starting to do that, actually. when you start going through Metric and selling caregiver bud to dispensaries through processors, that's getting reported to the IRS and stuff now.
So yeah, that's that's cool. That's a whole nother, make sure that you guys that are listening, make sure you guys are aware of that first of all, and then yeah.
Explain what you said before when we were talking about the strip mall thing. I think that's a very good example of what you can do.
Yeah. So yeah. That's what we're saying was going to happen. So I'm just kind of saying what's happening now, because that's all I can think of. What like I'm trying, and this is why I said jump in anytime too, because I mean I think some of us are kind of, I know me, like I can only talk about me, so I'm just going to start saying only I'm kind of fearful that doors are going to close, avenues are going to close, and hopefully that's not what scares me. It's just like what avenues, fear of the unknown, like what avenues are going to open, what avenues can open, because we all know and we all hear the rumblings that things are changing. I mean, I didn't attend the High Times Bazaar. Did you guys?
No, I didn't.
So yeah, some people didn't. It sounds like attendance was down from what I've heard. I know vendor wise, I mean the people that straight do edibles, like edibles weren't allowed from what I've heard. I don't know if people did it underground or not, like within, like I'm not sure, but I know that wasn't allowed, so that kind of stopped some people. They're going to require licensing and stuff next year, I believe. So, which means if you have a big license already, you can vend there. Or if you have like what's going to be, we're talking about the micro grow, you can vend and stuff there. Unless things change, which I don't, maybe we can always, we the people, we can always petition and shit to get caregivers to just at least maybe vend, or because maybe some of these companies don't want to just want to supply. I don't know. I thinking too much into it, I guess, on that aspect. But
it'll be interesting to see what happens in the show side of things for sure, when everything has to go through licensed provisioners and stuff.
Yeah, I know that has made it easier for people, because right now there's really no medical dispensaries. So like people like my uncle, for example, obviously he's over 21, he's 70 years old, wants something for pain. Him and all of his golf buddies hear the rumblings about CBD and THC and all this other stuff that's kind of helping. So they don't have access to the dispensaries, or maybe they just haven't taken the time to go get their card, or just I don't know, whatever the case may be in their case. Anyway, someone around them, like whatever. So we go to these bazaars, where you can just kind of get in, pay a flat fee, get in, stock up on all your medicine and creams and oils and whatever else you need to get you through until the next 3-4 months, so the next event, or wherever you can make it out right now. So what we're kind of leading into was the micro grows. What I believe is going to happen, all of us caregivers or any people in general are going to be given the opportunity to pay the fee to the state and to the city, and then from what I believe is get some like a retail shop even. Even like a strip mall or corner, throw it in the back, your grow, have your dispensary up front, and then you can have in the middle, have your processing, your oil making, your little kitchen for edible making, whatever. And then again, not sure too much on the regulations if we're going to, if it's all going to have to be super tested. Because I mean, if you're doing super small batches, if I'm only growing one plant of chocolate, and I'm going to grow 4 ounces of it, maybe 5 ounces of it. Okay, I'm going to put it on my shelf in my little micro. Am I going to have to send, X amount out for $400 or however much the panel testing is? Like, if I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 strains, 4, 8, 12, my whole cost of operation, it's going to have to go to potentially testing, and then, oversight and all that other good stuff. So it's going to be interesting how that all fans out.
Well, and dovetailing with that is the opt-out list is getting longer and longer and longer by the day in this state. And it's a fucking shame, man.
So for the people that don't know that, with the MMFLA, or no, MMFL, I think it is, right? The
MMFLA, you're right.
the medical law. Yeah, okay, the medical law. States or cities had to opt in, so everyone was excluded. Correct? So I believe, and then the cities actually had to go and vote if they wanted to come in to the medical game, whereas the recreational with the micro grows and what we just voted on, everybody's in, all states are in, and then they actually have to, as a city, vote out. So you, like you said, the opt-out list is growing longer and longer. That's just a matter. That's going to be one of those. We're just waiting it out. Like I know my city. Like I was kind of upset because my city, they did it. They had the meeting and opted out, and I wasn't able. Well, I didn't. Not that it was. I was even able. I wasn't there. I wasn't present. I joined this group. When I was still on the Facebook. I joined this group and I found out the day after that the meeting was the day before. And literally, I watched the meeting, and I'm so upset. I'm so upset, and I'm not trying to sound any racist here, but my city, the majority of them are Arabic and Muslim. So, and that's who a lot of the business owners kind of are in this are taking control more and more of the city. So that's who kind of showed up and represented. So props to them. That's how our government works. The two people that knew about it showed up, and unfortunately, the things that they said were not. I'm going to use the term uneducated in this point. They said some very uneducated things. About old just cannabis and you know the whole industry in general.
Yeah, and I think that's the same for a lot of these counties. It's
right.
Some old lady that lives on the corner that doesn't want a dispensary in her block, that doesn't mind the 3 liquor stores, that wants to vote out.
Right, and unfortunately, that's the one who shows up to the meetings, and that not unfortunately that we or more people aren't active within the government. And I'm not trying to get political here. Let's get off this topic real quick. But it's like we want to bitch about the big guys, the big dogs in power. Like they're the ones that are really making our life hell. When it's like this little old lady on the corner here, and these couple gentlemen that own businesses within my city decided to show up and say some things that were noted and taken into account. And,
exactly.
You know, that's what I mean. Whether that influenced the vote or not, again, that's kind of getting more political. I took a couple political science classes in school because, again, I wanted to educate myself on.
No, that's important thinking, though. I think it's important that people in the younger generations and stuff actively don't vote enough and all that stuff. And
happened to our country. People are being wronged by a broken system, and we must say no more. No more homegrown marijuana.
Yeah, that's right.
As the son of a proud American farmer, I am concerned about what homegrown can lead to. People can grow weed wrong and poison themselves. What?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, come on.
Unscrupulous growers could use cheap irrigation and drown babies. Oh, come on.
That's right. That's right.
The fact is simple. Marijuana must be grown with integrity.
Integrity.
need to make their voices heard more, for sure.
I definitely vote, and believe it or not, I vote more on a micro scale. I know who my mayor is. I know who my city officials are. I even know who a couple of surrounding mayors and city officials are. I own a couple pieces of property here and there, so it's like, dealing with cities, you kind of, you don't have to know, but it's kind of a bonus. Anyway, but also what is important to note here is that just because we opted out doesn't mean that you can't opt back in, and doesn't mean that you can't, talking to my lawyer about this, doesn't mean that you can't take the steps to get your city to opt back in. You as an individual can really make a difference. I mean, we're talking like a big difference,
So that would be through petitioning, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Through petitioning, you can talk to the various council members, see kind of why they voted. The votes come up, quite frequently, depending on who voted for what and what voted for where. You can start to kind of influence within the city. If certain people are voting this way or that way, you can kind of start to get active and get more involved and kind of help get your candidates put in power. So just because your city opted out, and let's say you really want to do something within your city limits, like, there's a way to fight back. And then ultimately, like I said, just letting it be known that, a lot of us people, and if this is the direction you want to go, a lot of us have kind of been in the shadows for so long that even now it's tough to say certain things amid certain things because of the ridicule and scrutiny. If you're an upstanding business owner in the city, still, are you going to come say, hey, look, this is exactly what we want, you know? Maybe that might influence, you know, the way certain people look at you, and that stigma, I hate to say, is kind of still there. So,
yeah, and it's hard to be a grower and to come out in front of all these people too and argue your case in front of the town also, when it was illegal 5 years ago, what you're trying to argue for, you know?
Right. You know, so it's just interesting knowing the way or wondering the way things are going to be playing out here in the next, you know, I mean, even now, I mean, even now things are changing. People are, their caregivers are starting to, like I said, have limited options as far as, you know, licensed and unlicensed dispensaries. I'm not 100% as up to date I am there even anymore. I know most of the shops now are licensed, correct?
Yeah. Most of them are.
Okay. So I know like the ones that aren't, they have a mandate soon, I'm guessing.
Yeah, and they're not supposed to be able to buy caregiver product. I've heard rumors that some shops will like fill out purchase orders for like from prior to the thing being passed that they couldn't get them and stuff like that, and still getting new shipments of product and stuff like that way. But they're only going to be able to pull that off for so long. And then,
Well, didn't you say you had slim pickings in your neighborhood?
all the shops that I can go to are all licensed though, and it's fairly slim pickings. But that's the licensed market right now. You have a pretty limited licensed provider list of wax and bud and all of these things.
And what's like the licensed versus unlicensed right now? Like, is there an advantage to as far as price wise, or I mean, all of us, they can still deal with a lot of different people. Obviously, that's the obvious one. But besides that, like, are prices still the same? I guess would be the main question there. Or
I think so. And you got to sign a waiver when you go to these places. I had a friend that liked to go to one specific place where he had to sign a waiver every time he went that the product he was buying wasn't tested and stuff. And I talked to him about it, kind of advocated against him going there a little bit, and certain things he was buying, like certain brands of cartridges. And then they actually failed some right after that, some of the Iron Lab stuff that was falsified records and whatever they had did with their results or whatever. They had stuff get on shelves that way.
right, you know, good thing you brought that up. I'm glad, because I'm going to touch on that real quick. I was talking to a couple of the people that I'm kind of friends with or follow on here, I should say, and I was corrected. So correct me if you know, even more so, or some of these, because there's, I think, still some misconception out there about what exactly is going on with these carts. So it's really the cartridges themselves, like the actual China, not so much the oil per se, the product that's in there. Of course, that's depending on pesticides and all the other, you know, garbage there. But like,
It was the lead.
I'm sorry.
It was the lead.
Yeah, so it's the actual cartridge that's coming from well, I hate to just say China, but like wherever it's being made, the cheap material that's actually like being heated up by the coil and burning, and that's what's burning, that's what's being like lung cancer, lung whatever. Like, that's the problem. It's not so much the actual clean oil.
I'm not sure. I heard it was vitamin E that was in the oil, like to cut the distillate down.
Yeah, I might have heard that too.
But there's other stuff, like there's rejected, like if you're buying cartridges in the black market, you might be getting distillate that failed testing, or that failed testing in a different state even. They get shipped here and it might be hot for pesticides or metals or something else, and then somebody's filling cartridges in their basement and putting it in legit looking packaging.
Stay away from those 7 for $100s, guys.
Where'd I go? All right. So there are such things as clean carts right now.
You can get good carts, yeah.
So Now, that's from what we know, right? I mean, this is like a recent thing, these cartridges. So like,
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
We're talking, and I've heard that people are short term. Like I picked up a vape pen yesterday, and I'm already having a lung problem. I heard that. I mean, that I'm being kind of silly. I'm like within 6 months ish. I'm hearing are like the quick onset, but I mean, we're still within that period of like we still only started smoking these things a few years ago. I mean, I hit my first one, which probably was one of the first ones on the market, probably 4 years ago ish, maybe 5, maybe tops. So I mean, we only have as I'm not gonna say me as a scientist, you know, but we as a society, or let's even say the doctors, or we as scientists, let's just say that, whatever, only have the ability to study from the past 5 years or so. So, you know, everyone that's smoking, you know, weed and you know, for 20, 30 years, like that's cool, but like we don't know about these cartridges, you know, at all. Even the clean ones, as they're saying, I mean, how do we study that as quickly? You know, I'm not trying to scare people away from things because, you know, it's kind of a scary thing hearing, you know, our beloved cannabis, you know, THC being linked to potentially harmful side effects, you know, whether it be from cartridges or whether it be from some idiot that's, you know, doing whatever, you know, wherever.
Definitely,
you know?
definitely agree.
So I just hope that everyone, and again, as a grower, like I take every single precaution, and you know, I hate to admit this because as we said, I don't know if we said on air before, either way, it's tough for some people to especially like social media and even talking, swallow their pride and admit when they made mistakes. Even me, like I'll admit this, I was using this Botanicare. Oh shoot, I shouldn't say their name. Well, no, Botanicare. Sorry, fungus gnats. I had cocoa. I've used them for years, and probably within the last few runs, I've just been getting fungus gnats like freaking crazy. And literally, like I switched to rock, and here's how I know. Here's how I know it's from these guys. I switched to Rockwell, and I ran the little chunks, little cubes, in the same little setup I run. I put them in little pots, put them under the light, and Rockwell, no problems. Didn't see a freaking bug. You know, I ran them a couple different, you know, ways, areas, spots. Rockwell, nothing. Good, clean. Started running cocoa from Botanicare, Ready Grow again. I'm gonna say it that way, Ready Grow, because I mean the blocks. We can get into that. Blocks a little different, but had a problem. You know, had a within a couple of days, 3-4 little bugs flying around the light. You know, so I actually had a grow right before that. And the reason I went to Rockwell, I had a grow that I was like 4 or 5 weeks in, and you can already see these bugs just everywhere. So I actually stopped the grow. I cut everything down, chopped the whole room down. So hate to admit that, you know, that's tough.
No, it happens, man. Like, did you see that Mitten Canico? They went hot for heavy metals, cadmium, in one harvest. Spartan growing on our panel works there. He's a grower at Mitten Canico, and they've got a bunch of big rooms, and they had a whole crop go hot for heavy metals. And they talked about it, posted the test results, did everything all transparent, just like you did just now. Like everything.
That's the key. It's the transparency.
Well, point being behind that, like I said, that was kind of tough for me to say, but like to kind of save face here, the whole reason I did that was because as a grower, like I'm having fun and enjoy what I'm doing, but like at the same time, when I have that big a problem, I'm not going to sit there. I called everybody from everybody, you know, not just my friends, but like art from Arbico, from any rep that I knew I could think of. And at the end of the day, like I had ladybugs on the way, and I had this and I had that, and I was gonna try to save the crop week 4, and I was like, you know what, like these are so bad, like I'm just cutting it down, like they're just getting worse and worse. You know, I'm trying to treat with this and treat with that, and I'm like, this is just stupid. Like at the end of the day, like it's not gonna be a quality product. So
they're never gonna rebound from that.
Right, they're never gonna rebound. And what am I trying to do with that then? You know, like throw it on the black market, like spray it up as heavy as I can, and then hope that the people that are using it like won't die from it down the road. Because you know, people make a good point, again, not to scare people away from cannabis here, but like cannabis has been grown for thousands of years. ultimately, people have been using it as medicine for a while, and with limited to no side effects. Nowadays, though, we grow it under lights. We grow it indoors under lights. We grow it using chemical fertilizers. We grow it with these just almost a completely artificial way of growing a plant we can think of at this point in time. Hydroponically, aeroponically, fogoponically. We can damn near grow this shit on the moon if we wanted to. You know what I mean? Like, point being is it's being grown differently. Now, I'm not a scientist, so I mean, is that translating into something we don't want it to? I'm just going to put it that way.
The things that we've added to the cannabis are the things that maybe it's undoing.
Added or taken away, or who knows? Who knows what we're doing? But the fact of the matter is, some guys are spraying heavy metals. I don't know the exact products people are spraying on. If you look at some of the test results, this mycobellum, or I'm not sorry, butchered that name up, but like a couple of these more popular ones that are failing, and even up and down the list, like any of these things that we're ingesting or smoking, we're smoking things. So put it that way, people. You're smoking something. People with topicals and stuff like that, you're still rubbing stuff on your skin. Rub poison ivy on your skin, see what happens. You're still putting something on your skin. Just be aware of that. Like, we want to call it a medicine, and it could be, makes the pain go away, but ultimately, like, there's always a give and a take, right? With every, I think it was some smart person long ago that said, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So with that being said, again, like, who knows? People that grow outdoor weed, for example, or people that have outdoor weed, they can always attest to how indoor weed's a little bit better, different. Like, why is it better or different? Do we have, just because we have control of the elements, just because we have the ability to add wind and add humidity and take away humidity, and add light and take away light? But like, ultimately, like, is that really the missing key? Is that really the X factor, or is it something else? Which is going to lead into something else. So people are still following me. What I'm ultimately trying to say is just ultimately be aware of what you're putting in your body and putting on your body, you're putting next to your body, you're putting around your body. You know what I mean? Your body's the ultimately thing in life. Getting off topic a little bit, I've had. But
I was gonna say, that's why we grow our own, right? It's so that we don't have to buy somebody else's stuff, and we know what's put on our stuff, and we know that it's clean and quality products.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And then for some states, they're not. Some places, some areas are not allowing home grows, not allowing personal grows. So fight for that. Be aware of that. Again, I think that's why ultimately these bigger tested facilities are going to become a little bit more popular with some people, because some people just don't give a shit. Let's be honest about what they ingest or what they do. But other people are becoming more aware, becoming more open or enlightened, or whatever you want to use, on what is going on. So, and what I was going to say right there was, I just had a good buddy. His wife was diagnosed with breast cancer, and he kind of looked into it and kind of started telling me about cancer and how it works, and for someone that thank God has not really been around it. I've had a couple early on people die, but like really haven't been what's the right word? Just been around it, not too keen on exactly what it is, how it works. So he started kind of telling me some things, and like a lot of things he was saying was like sugars, for example, like are how bad sugars are for you. Why childhood cancer is on the rise, for example. Links to autism and links to learning disabilities and brain, chemical imbalances and stuff along those lines. It's things that we ingest. So in getting back to the cannabis, so that's why I asked about the vape carts, because I know there's this big thing right now. So I don't know how aware people are there on that sense too. So with the micros, that's I don't know, again, if I asked you guys pre-show or not, but like for the listeners, is things going to be tested? You know, or we just talked about that. Are things going to be tested on the micro scale? Like you think they would have to be? You know, testing maybe has to come down. You know, it has to be. You know, like. But if you're doing small batches, how small is a small batch?
Well, it's like
Like,
cottage industry. If I make pies, there is such a thing as like a cottage industry.
Tell me about it. Tell me about it. Like, is there like in the beer, for example? Like, if I do a micro brew, like 1 keg brew, do I have to get it tested if I'm still on that big a scale?
I don't know if you're involved with the ATF or not for that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I need to go talk. I need to go talk with probably my lawyer again. You know, kind of get up to date on where we're at and kind of see where the law's at. Because I don't want to. You know, I know we got some listeners that are probably listening intently. Hopefully, we don't want to mislead them one way or another.
Right.
But again,
that's why I'm mum on it.
Right. Well, I'm trying to speak on it because I guess I'm just as confused as some of these people that, you know, we knew what we had, we know what we have, we're scared of what we're going to lose, we're scared of what, you know, we think is going to happen. So just kind of understanding, again, everyone wants to stay legal and stay compliant and stay up to date. That's the main thing. And a lot of it is learning the laws, knowing what we can as far as what's going on in stone and writing now. But again, a lot of it is they're still writing it, I believe. They're still writing regulations and writing kind of what they think or what's going to happen. So
yeah, we're still under the emergency rules right now for the rec stuff.
Yeah.
And that's coming up on 1 year next week, I believe, is it? Or a couple days after that, maybe 10 days or so?
So let me ask you this too. So like, if you're a rec patient, what are your options?
0.
Yeah, you're just waiting right now. You can have, if you have any cannabis on your person, you're good. You just can't buy it from anywhere. It has to be given to you from somebody.
So you have to know somebody.
Right. So there's
Basically.
like an access issue, just like there's always been.
Okay. Because I've gotten a lot of that, and you know, again, I've probably said this before, but like I'm gonna kick myself when I'm not a bajillionaire because I've had all these great ideas. But I was actually doing the lotion 6 years ago now.
He puts the lotion on. You have no idea what kind of hell I can bring you!
Oh, all right, enough, you broken record, okay? Been down here 2 weeks, man, what do you want?
He puts the lotion on its skin. Now!
Well, say it, don't spray it, brother.
I had a buddy. I should just say I was doing it, and then me and him were kind of I started to lean on him, and then he's just whatever. He's gone now, but anybody that's ever tried it in emotions just love it. So one of the big I have since stopped and don't do it anymore. Really, again, I'm not a chemist, so just being who I am, it drove myself crazy just thinking of ratios and adding ingredients and.
You're speaking my language, brother. That's what I do. I do topicals like that, man.
I actually, funny story. I don't think I've said that yet. So funny story.
Nah, you did. That's the first one. I know, man.
Yeah, there you go. So I made it that far. About that, years ago, same thing when I was trying to get the topicals. I was partying with a couple of people up at my cousin's place, Western, where, again, got my first possession charge. I was talking to one of the kids in chemistry, and I was like, "Yo, man, we got to get together and we got to think of a." I think I was saying hemp at the time, though. I don't think I was saying cannabis. I think I was saying hemp, but I was like, we need to get on that hemp, like invent a product, you know, toothpaste or something like that, original, you know. I never. That was probably the only.
Should have been a bajillionaire, yeah, man.
The only meeting I had with them, but like. No, we made the topicals a little bit. I sold them a little bit. You know, they took off and then just never really did it again. You know, just kind of went back to my simple farming ways. You know, with my straw hat. Speaking of which,
tour time.
Here we go.
Tour time. We will be releasing this on video, so people will get to see it.
There it is.
Will the real Kyle Gardner please stand up?
You guys are about the same size.
Just wanted to show him the real Kyle Gardner. But no, I went back to my simple gardening ways. So I kind of gave up. I need to flip it back now. Here, shout out to my buddy. Here you go. For the people that are watching.
Wanderlust Farms, Michigan
Wanderlust
made.
Farms, Headbanger.
Yeah, he said it. Shout out to Headbanger.
That's nice packaging too.
Recyclable, eco-friendly guy. Loves to travel.
I like that.
They're right in your worm bin, man.
Cool dude. But no, everyone loves the topicals, and the reason I guess I was asking about there was just to try to tell people kind of what's going on there, because I've been getting that question just because I'm a grower, CBD cup winner. I had to say that at least once, right?
Cup winner Kyle Gardner.
Right.
In the flesh.
People have heard that CBD part specifically also, and have asked about CBD things. So it's like I even went as far as asking a couple doctors. It was funny. I overheard a doctor the other day. He was talking about CBD. He was he was in the next room over, and he was talking about to whoever the patient was, whatever ailment they had, about CBD stuff. And so he came in, and I started to ask him about it, pretty specific questions too, and he was kind of clueless as to what kind of what it actually is, how it actually works. He just kind of heard it works, and that's kind of an alternative treatment. And like, not trying to call that doctor out at all. So hope I don't get him in trouble, because he's actually a cool dude. So, but again, like it's kind of like over the counter stuff. So I guess it can't hurt too much, right? Like in a lot of cases. But ultimately, that's a couple questions I've gotten a lot. Like, where can I get it from? And then someone that's kind of like, I guess, in the industry, as I could say, I almost felt obligated to go to that cannabis bazaar just to hook up, all my people, like for, with topicals and, well, mostly just topicals. That's kind of all we kind of wanted was the CBD lotions and stuff. Correct me if I'm wrong, though. CBD lotions are in places like health food stores, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's in my local one.
Yeah, and you were talking about this conversation that you had with the doctor. I had the same conversation with my boss this week about a day ago. We talked about CBD, and he was wondering why people would even smoke it. And I was going over a few of the reasons with him and stuff. It's kind of interesting that people are having these types of conversations now.
Tell us what you told him. You informed him, so I'm sure that the listeners would like to be informed as well.
Yeah, we went over pain relief, of course, and then people use it to stop smoking and stuff like that. And the thing that led into the conversation was he was at a pumpkin patch, and that farm was selling hemp flower there, just buds, and he couldn't believe it. He didn't think that was legal, so we went over that and went over the percentage of THC in hemp and all of that stuff.
Yeah, I'm shaking my head because right now I know some people out in somewhere else that grew a bunch of hemp, and they're selling it just like flour. You can get it for I think like $700 a pound for some hemp flour right now. Pounds and pounds and pounds and pounds and pounds and pounds, pounds. They have like 50 Mexicans over there trimming it hard and shit. Like, I don't mean that. I literally mean Mexicans. I'm not literally like, again, racist term. I'm literally saying they were literally Hispanic people like from Mexico that were trimming it up. Like, so I guess that's a thing. Dude, it's so much work. Like hand trimming it. Like they showed me the field. I forget how many acres it was, man. It was so many. It was like I can't even guess, but it was like a lot.
Well, that's what Canna Kate had told me this week. Was she said, "Man, you just wouldn't believe what it's like to just stand in just a big field of it." Man.
Unreal. It's cool. I actually had someone approach me lately, and I don't know. I think it was up in Canada. I kind of didn't really. I don't know. I didn't really give him the time of day. But yeah, he was talking about hemp farming. Up there, acres and acres and acres, and it's coming. That's cool. That's cool because hemp is going to change the world. It's like I think the secret's kind of out there too. Realistically, like we need to get off the plastics. Like straight up. I mean, not just the petroleum, like it's the plastics. Like it's
They-
kind of ridiculous how people like literally single-use spoons and single-use plastic straws, and it's our society is getting to this place. Like even my wife, love her to death, but she's over here just throwing away stuff that's like, you don't need to do that. You know, you don't need to throw that away. Let's refurbish that. Let's give that to someone else that's in need or something, instead of just hawking it in the trash pile. And where do you think that goes? Like, you think your problem is just gone then? Like that? No, like your problem just created a bigger problem. Like you just don't see that problem.
All the fish in the sea have microplastics in their stomachs.
You're right, 100% right. And it's kind of disgusting. And I mean, pretty soon we're not gonna be able to eat the fish. I mean, it's already almost to that point.
Well, they're almost gone anyway.
You know, now we're trying to do this fish farming. There's a lot of these big industrial fish farms popping up, and even that's just, you know, studies on that and how that's harming, you know, populations of the wildlife, and, you know, potentially harmful to, you know, lots of different things. So we need to take a smoke break. Well, not really a break, but like
Dab time.
pack one up. And
Yeah, feel free. The last time we had abolished, he put a nice thing over the screen and played some elevator music for us. So probably do this right here while you do a dab. Do, 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 do.
you guys are getting creative on there, eh?
Yeah,
Citrus
we are.
Tsunami, Kyle. Citrus Tsunami right here, man. This is a fucking secret favorite.
I'll do a dab, even though Kyle doesn't do concentrate.
Can you see it?
And by the way,
I love that that's your pre-roll jar.
Show that again.
His bud is in his pre-roll jar from the
Oh yeah.
from the cup.
Ah, yeah, you're right. Oh, dude. Hey, Citrus Tsunami. Dude. This shit's dank. It's so dank.
The breeder on that.
The breeder is Mother Trucking Surfer Seeds. But that it's pretty much the Tropicana cookies cut. I mean, it's orange Skittles times Tropicana cookies, but I actually have another I got all the F2s, which is what I found my male. What I use my male for is the F2 that I'm breeding with right now. But it's pretty much a lot of it. The Citrus Tsunami is what I'm trying to say. The Citrus Tsunami is pretty identical to like the Tropicana cookies. I had the I don't know if you've seen the Tropicana Haze, the flower I had, which is like that real kind of more of a deeper purple, almost like a violet. Violet, would that be the right word? Like a deep purple. Whereas the majority of the Tropicana cookies is kind of more of a kind of lighter-ish. But I know my citrus has some great terps. Like it's real tasty. Like it's one of those things where like you exhale and you're definitely tasting what you smell. And that's why I love those type of flower. Like the Moby's like that too, has a strong, like you smell it, you taste it. You know, there's really no burnt, no loss, lost in translation.
Right. It always has that dank finish too. Cheers. Fucking Rippy long stockings over there. Did you learn that at the U of M too?
That's funny. They used to have this bong shop up there. I think it's still there, 420 or 42 degrees. I mean, that's where I got my one of my very first bongs, called Yoshida. I was so pissed because my mom. I left the house when I moved out. I moved back in for a brief period, and then when I moved back out, I left that little bong there because it's a little bong, you know, like this big. I was gonna come back for it. Little psychedelic colors and shit. Little mushroom, looked like a little mushroom, you know. And I come back. She's like, "Oh, I threw it away. It cracked in half." Like, it didn't crack in half. That glass was like 2 inches thick. I've dropped that thing on cement before and cracked. Don't lie to me, Mom. All cracked in half. I had to throw it away, dear. Like,
She
first
threw
bong
it 20
ever,
feet
but
up in the air.
that
Yeah,
was my
I'm
first
sure.
bong ever, but that was a good bong.
I've got one that ear that I swear I could club somebody with it, and knock them out.
Oh, for sure.
That other demon piece
That's what you
is
need.
the one, man. That new one that dude just dropped off. That's a hammer, man.
Yeah. Man. So, I don't know, like, what else you guys want to talk about?
You wanted me to ask you about clones, so let's do that.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget.
No, yeah. No, that's a good catch because, yeah, I wanted to definitely touch on that one. So, like, the people that are listening, thank you for still being here. So, I should maybe talk about this a little bit earlier because, like I said, I've kind of been known for clones. That's where I met a lot of these followers. That's kind of what I really was. I guess gave me a jump, kind of brought me out of the shadows a little bit as a grower. I started dealing with all these dispensaries. I was in various ones, and that was the coolest. I'm really trying to get something going again on that scale. I think I kind of ended the conversation, our last little podcast, talking about clones and doing this and doing that. So with the micro is going to come X amount of clones or of plants. You're going to be allowed to have 150. So what I'm thinking of doing is grabbing one of them licenses and then potentially selling clones out of one of them little shops. The reason for that being is, and I hope my followers and people that are trying to get clones from me all the time can relate to and understand is that, I mean, time is very precious. And as I grow up and get a little older and have, more and more kids, something I really realize in life is how, wasting money, like, that's fine. Like, you can waste money all day. Like, money is just this piece of fucking paper that we wrote on it that says we have a value, but like, time is real precious. So like, dealing with the clones, when I was doing the dispensaries, it was easy because they were the ones that did the real legwork of directing the people to the dispensaries to get the clones, doing the legwork of, I would print them out a little sheets that held like the Moby Dick, okay, 60-day flower, bushy, so high, here's what you expect out of yield, here's what you expect, lemony. I kind of give a little rundown, kind of like if you go on Attitude Seeds, people that can relate to that, you see your little, here's what it is. I kind of give them a little sheet like that. So they would go, people that would come in, they'd pick out, I want one clone of this, one clone of this. I'm getting my 3-4, meds, eighths or whatever, in the dispensary. And it made it really easy for me to just run it up there. 100 clones, 50 clones, 10 different varieties, 5 different varieties, whatever. It gave everyone a real easy access to it. So once that kind of stopped, it made my life very, very difficult, very difficult. Like, I was spending hours, like, taking clones and dealing with the babies and making sure they're all healthy and transplanted and hardened off and this and that alone. Just being in that nursery alone took fucking time. So, when I was having to talk to people like on Instagram, when I got, out of the dispensary on Instagram, that was kind of one of my main channels. Instagram. I hope you're listening. Hope you're not listening. I mean, so
Banned.
Yeah, right. I'm out. So it just made my life difficult. I'd have to. I was trying to honor, a decent price, which was kind of my undoing in that regard too. Comparative to kind of what I was giving some of the dispensaries, because a lot of those guys are some of the originals I started selling to when I went out. Like, hey, listen, like, give me them, I can sell them for X amount. Then it just kind of, whatever from there. I kind of lost track of who I was giving the OG price to versus like what I really should be the retail price to and shit like that. So like, basically people are just hitting me up for 3, 4, 5 clones at a time, and like $50, like, yeah, that's cool in order. Like, I'm not trying to hate on anybody, but when I got 5, 10 other things going on in my day and then have to like stop what I'm doing and go get them, meet you up at some random ass location and then head on back. Like basically an hour out of my time already. If you're working a 40-hour week dealing with the clones already, to have to meet someone up 4, 5, 6, 10 people a week, that's 10 extra hours a week. I mean, it becomes too much. And then of course, like that's people that come through, let alone the people that don't come through. Like there's always a handful of people that are going to tell you like, yo, I'll be there. I'm on my way even, you know, oh, my car broke down now. You know, I actually got that once. I locked my keys in my car, someone said, too. So it's just like, at the end of the day, it's kind of tough sledding in that regard. So again, I kind of had to take a real step back because then I was kind of stuck with all these varieties that I was like normally just slammed with. I had like 30 varieties. And me personally, like, yeah, 30 varieties is cool, but like, you know, my own personal garden, like I'm only sitting here growing, like I said, right now I'm down to like 3 or 4, you know, really main contenders. I think, you know, a couple others in the stable, 5, 6 that I have kind of laying around that all straight through. But, you know, when you got 30 that you're trying to maintain and label and keep track of, and like, it just became so much of a headache and a nightmare as someone that was a grower in that regard. I went from being like, I'm going to be this, I just want to be a veg cloner, you know, type of grower, to now like, you know, it was a heartache, or a headache. So I'm trying to, again, find a decent avenue. Again, I know a couple people are kind of doing it illegally, you know, so, you know, do I want to risk it? You know, again, it's one of those things where, you know, the law says something, there's a gray area that says, oh, it doesn't really speak on, maybe you can slip through, you know, wiggle your way through right now. Like,
yeah, it's safer to do the wait and see, man, for sure. There's no sense in taking unnecessary risks.
I keep saying that too, but it's kind of real frustrating because I know there's such this huge demand and this huge avenue, you know. I mean, look, just some of you who went to that, not the bazaar. I didn't go to the bazaar. I know you guys said you didn't either. So, the guys that went to this last time, I don't know if there were any people doing clones or plants. I know the weather was a little bad, but ultimately, like when I did it a couple years ago, I was one of the first and only people to be doing it at that point. You know, like even a couple years before that, the one dispensary, the one dispensary specifically that I was supplying to, they brought up like 1,000 or some shit for me that one year, and they sold them all. You know, so it's like there's it went from being like that to now just like a little bit bigger. People kind of caught on to my secret. So, but so
I have mass respect for you for that, because I used to try to be that guy that was sourcing the clones from somebody, and it is fucking hard as shit, dude, man, to make the meetups and find people and where you're going to source them from, and then is it what it's supposed to be, or is it just some fucking bullshit? Like, right. It's very frustrating on everybody's side. And so that's why it's commendable for me to tell you that I like the way that you do things. I've gotten cuts from you. They're perfectly fucking healthy and clean. They're finishing flower right now. Like, thank you, brother. You helped me. No, I appreciate you.
Thank you. And and that's what I mean too. It's here comes my wife. Hey, we're live here too. So if you want to be in here, come say hi. No? Here, just say hi so they can hear you.
Hi.
There you go. This is gonna be our
hey.
Now we know you actually have a wife. You weren't making it up.
Miss Gardner in the house. But yeah, you know, that's kind of one of the most frustrating things too for me right now, that you say that, because it's like you're absolutely welcome, but at the same time it's like it's so frustrating to hear that from you, because here's a story too. Like one of the first events that I did a while ago, it was the end of the show. The guy, I might even be getting the story half mixed up, but like the guy, I believe, like didn't have his wallet or like whatever. I kind of stopped packing up. I gave him a couple plants, you know, didn't think too much of it, you know, and that was one of his first grows. So he actually messaged me on, I think it was Instagram, not too long ago. Well, it was about a year ago now, and he was like, man, like you really helped me. That was really a therapeutic grow. She just cracked this citrus tsunami. I'm so proud.
Love it.
He was like, you know, you really helped me out, because, you know, I was really going through some stuff. You know, he kind of gave me a little story, but he's like, I was really going through some stuff, And he's like, that plant, you know, he's like, not only like the smoking of it, but just like the therapeutic aspect of like growing it. Like that was really awesome for me, you know? So I do still have seeds, you know, I do ship seeds. So if I'm not banned from Instagram, try to get a hold of me on Instagram. I do ship, fairly cheap. You just pay for the shipping costs on, you know, it's really a couple bucks depending on how much you get. But seeds are the way to go. I don't do feminized, so you know, people that are kind of first timers, you kind of got to play that little guessing game of what are you going to get pheno hunting and stuff like that. I can't guarantee, you know, all male or all female.
But it's about access, though. It's about that access.
It's about access. Thank you. Exactly. You know, it's about access because, you know, let's say take that away, take that aspect of things away. Like, and he wasn't able to grow that. Like, where would he be? You know, like, let's hope he, you know, a positive outcome, of course. But you know, but just hearing a story like that, like, I mean, people need them from a commercial side of things, from people, these medical guys, these grows, caregivers, you know, they need access to genetics. And if you're pheno hunting, if you're popping seeds, like, that's kind of a headache. You know, you're really going through the hassle of finding things, pheno hunting, like I said, even feminized seeds, you know.
I just had this conversation with my coworker tonight, and I said, look, man, I'll take a healthy clone every fucking time. I said, I have numbers that I have to pay attention to. I've got my own medicine that I'm already trying to grow up while I'm searching something new. I said, why would I not take someone else? Think about it. I got a 10-pack. I pop it. If half of them are female, I got 5. Out of those 5, let's say that one of them is what I'm looking for. Is that the keeper? Or I did a 5-pack. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, I've got 5. Whereas if I get it from somebody else, this is their keeper. Okay, let's run it. It's consistent medicine. Whereas if I say, okay, well, I got this Moby Dick from this one dude one time, so now I'm going to buy this pack of seeds and I'm going to find that thing. No, you're probably not. Right.
Well, and the cool thing about me too was, like, a majority of my strains that I would get pretty much all of them that I was given to these dispensaries were tested. They were, you know, you knew exactly, you know, Moby Dick. You hit 19 to 21% THC in that range. You know, got the Canatonic 4, which I won the Cannabis Cup for. It would hit at, you know, 12% CBD, you know, 13% CBD. You know, you kind of knew exactly what you're getting out of the clone too. So as a grower, like you're saying, you're paying attention to numbers and shit. Let's say you pop even 1 or 2 seeds. You know, okay, 1 seed, female, okay. How do you know that that's going to hit the numbers you want to hit? You know, how do you know you're looking for that no CBD, or just like I got a strain right now that I crossed, the Sunshine Kush times Canatonic 4. Hits at I think it just hit at like 11 THC and a 5 CBD. So
nice.
It's kind of right in that. Yeah, my buddy actually, like, believe it or not, I barely trimmed it up, barely kind of, you know, I kind of was just really curious on what numbers it was going to hit. That's really the only reason I grew it out. I was like, what numbers is, like, a couple of these going to hit? So the one, like I said, the one I hit, well, the only one I had was, because, dude, I had a lot of males. I had like 2 or 3 males out of the 5-pack I popped. And same thing. It was like 11.5. So
like a perfect 2 to 1.
How do you know where you're? Yeah, he really liked it. It was real smooth. But, like, how do you know? You know, in the meantime, as a grower, you got to keep that plant around, and it keeps so much space and time and resources to grow.
How many months?
You know. And let me ask you guys this: what's your thoughts on re-vegging? Like, do you see any detrimental effects to, like, quality, yield, vigor in plants? Like, do you see any negative effects by re-vegging a plant?
I would say if it's that important that I'm willing to go through the bullshit of re-vegging the plant, then it's got to be worth saving. So I'm just going to do what I need to do, whether it's from a financial side or a physical, mental, medical side. If I have to, I'll do it.
I've done it both ways. I prefer to re-veg and then clones, but I've re-vegged and then flowered that out like a monster cropped plant. And that actually was like a pretty crazy plant. And it yielded really well.
What about the clones? How did the clones do?
Clones do fine. But I
Same
think
thing, like identical to mom clones, like no difference in anything.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Because after it reveges long enough, the growth becomes normal. You just got to get past that stage where
It grows out of it.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I just mean because, one thing I always did, which I kind of stopped doing as of late, was I would take clones. So before I flowered everything out, I'd make sure the plant was big enough to where I would be able to take at least 2-3 clones and then pray that them clones survived. Or I would wait. Sometimes I would wait, sometimes I'd flip them, either way. So I'd have 2 or 3 clones laying around for 2 to 3 months, till they were done flowering out, and then at that point I can make the choice. But the problem now is, since I'm popping like so many, I have like 10-15 different females. Like I kind of said, like if I take 2-3 different clones, that means I have
60 extra plants.
Yeah, and then knowing that all but 3 are gonna make it, and even then maybe it's like, who knows, But so that's why I asked about re-vegging, because I've always questioned that. I don't know if I read that somewhere or just have always been leery of that, because you take that time to flower it out and see how awesome it is, and then you re-veg it, which is some weird, stressful, super stressing event. You want to make sure that once you take enough to make it worth your while, that you're not doing it in vain. It's going to do some funky shit.
You can also take a clone in, like, let's say it's a 70-day strain. You can take a clone of a bud, man. Throw that shit in your aeroponic cloner and let it grow out just like it was the re-veg. And then you're going to take the clone off of that clone. And then
Right. You made a good point there for some listeners too, because I've tried that a couple of times, taking a bud, like a smaller bud, and putting it in a dome, and it does not like it.
But it works in aeroponics, though.
Yeah. It's just that bud just does not like all that humidity.
You gotta save some of that bottom shit is what you do. You know what I mean? That inner shit.
Yeah. Well, either way, I mean, getting it back into the veg is not a problem. Just like I said, just making it worth the while. It's just something I rarely do or have done up until kind of as of late. So I kind of have done it before and haven't had any problems. So.
Well, we've talked about clones, and politics, and eating, and topicals, a bunch of other stuff. We talked about the dick.
Whoa!
Is there anything else you'd like to talk about? Kyle loves the dick.
I guess lastly, kind of like until hopefully I get another invite. You guys like me. I'm entertaining enough for you guys. Hey, maybe
for sure, brother. For sure.
I want to ask you this off air. I'll ask you this off air. I want to solve.
All right, cool.
I guess I'll talk about real quickly, like I guess just what the future is for Kyle Gardner specifically, because that is a real that was a real topic of I'm not discussion for me, but a real internal battle for me for a minute there. Again, I had this real big plan on what I was going to do about going into that cup. That first episode I did with you guys, I had this real strong plan, real strong notion, and first of all, that cup too, like I'm real glad I won. I'm real upset that, and even this last cup, I'm real upset that me and the Dab Smith didn't pull an award each event. I honestly thought that we were gonna win an award first place both times. I was that confident. I mean, like I thought I'd have at least a couple more cups by now. I'll be honest with you. That's maybe my overconfidence, but like
I love seeing how disappointed you are after the cup, because it shows how confident you are about what you're bringing there.
Did you see me go storming off?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, dude. I was like, I'm out. I'm done. This is no.
Well, Dick, here's the deal. I'm the best there is, plain and simple. I mean, I wake up in the morning, I piss excellence, and nobody can hang with my stuff. I'm just a big, hairy American winning machine. If you ain't first, you're last. No, what I'm talking about? That phrase, trademark, not usually produced for Ricky Bobby.
Peace.
But it's
Well-
just like confidence, you know that what you're bringing is very good, and I really like that.
It obviously drives your passion as well.
Well, I posted my results too for everyone to see, and I would like to see High Times give me the results for the first place winner. I want to see how I rank and compare. I want to see if I lost by an inch or lost by a mile. Not that I'm like, oh, okay, I lost, but like I'm just curious how a couple people ranked it, because like the citrus tsunami that I entered, which is basically like in my opinion, I've grown the F2s now of the Tropicana cookies. I have the citrus tsunami, which is like basically the Tropicana cut. I've seen the Tropicana cut in person. Like I should have won. You know, I should have won. So I'm just curious on like how like why I didn't even score, how I didn't even get first, second, or third when I pretty much the Tropicana cookies won. My citrus tsunami didn't win. Same exact thing. That's one thing upset me. But anyway, what I was saying about the cannabis cup was
I love that, by the way.
I know. I'm pretty disappointed, but I'm really kind of disappointed that me and the Dab Smith didn't pull an award too. Like shout out to him. He's a really good processor.
So are we.
You know, I think he got third in a couple different categories. I mean, again, so he played.
Yeah, he got the Herkel.
The Herkel, I have it right here.
Yeah, which, you know, if I don't transplant it soon, I'm going to lose it. I popped that seed. You know, that seed's for me. Gave it to him. He loves it. So it's nice. It is still nice. I know he has it right now too. So it's coming from him real soon.
I use that before work like all the time, dude. If I'm gonna have like a rough ass shift, they're like, all right, man, fucking dab up on this. 2 of those, and you're just straight, man. Gives you that clarity, motivation,
and you're good to go. All right, so anyway, so I won this first cup, right? Kind of went through my head a little bit like that, you know, I was like, I won, that's awesome, you know, like I said, I was confident. But after that first cup specifically, like I kind of took a hard look at my like myself, the growing, like where I was going. Like a lot of people started hitting me up, wanting flour, wanting this, wanting that. Like I kind of took a hard look at things. One of the real reasons why, and this is kind of a secret too, and this is me just opening up, is like I was kind of looking for, and still maybe am looking for, that right kind of investor, right kind of partner to partner up with to do something on a major scale. You know, someone, you know, with that being said, that has a shit ton of money that could, like, you know, find someone that knows how to grow and or, you know, wants to do it, you know. So that's kind of why, like, Kyle Gardner kind of stepped out into the limelight a little bit, because, you know, the winds of change are coming. You know, and even more so, like putting myself on Instagram a little bit more. Like, what benefit is that really getting me? Like, am I showing off? Am I making friends? Like, what is it really getting me? You know, for me, it was kind of like a resume. You know, it was like, here's what I'm doing, here's what I've done, here's what I can do. You know, if shit hits the fan, you know. Speaking of change, this is kind of what this kind of show, a little bit of the show, most of the show has been about. This is what's going to happen, and you know, and the corporate world take over, and they're going to need growers. Ultimately, they're not going to need the suits and tie guys that you know crunch the numbers. They're going to need the guys that have been on the ground winning those cannabis cups, you know, to come. So that's why I kind of put myself out there a little bit, because I'm like, well, you know what, you know, it's going to be either a good thing, bad thing, you know, see where it goes. So after I won that cup, I kind of took a look at myself. I even went to, I think, my lawyer's office. I did, because I took the cup. I went to my lawyer's office, and I should flash this card real quick. See if there's a lawyer card in there. In that green. I think it's like green MC lawyer. But like I went to my lawyer's office, seen him. He was actually the guy next to me at the Cannabis Cup when you guys seen me that one event. And he and we basically talked about it, you know, and I kind of came to the realization that, like, I don't know about it, you know. It's just, I don't know. I don't know, you know. So basically, that's why for almost a month there, I think it was, I was off Instagram. You know, I completely just shut it. I didn't shut it down, but like I just stepped away from it, you know, and like honestly, it didn't bother me whatsoever. You know, if anything, I'm better for it. You know, kind of like social media, like my Facebook. When I shut my Facebook down, it was kind of like, you know, no biggie. You know, who cares? So, that month was kind of like a hard look at like what is going on in the industry. Where do I want to go? What do I want to do? You know, what can I do? What's plan B? What's plan C now? You know, like I got families to worry about. Like as a grower, like I said, I love what I'm doing. This has absolutely been a great time. But like, is there a time when you know it can't? I guess would be the simplest way to put that. No, that's not out. But give me this one. Give me this one. That's Kenny's card. It's got like a robot on it. It might even be in my backpack. Here's the tissue culture guys I was talking about.
It says Kenneth Ryberger.
I don't know if they're still in business or not, but we were kind of talking about some guys, so she just kind of pulled it out. So there's a card for them. I'm trying to zoom in.
It says House something on the left side. I can't read it quite.
Yeah, it's House of Genetics. Yeah, so houseofgenetics.com. He's a cool dude. Talk to me about some things. I'm gonna hold on to this, put this right here. That I'm gonna talk to him. It's funny you pulled that out. See, everything happens for a reason. Isn't that weird?
Serendipity.
If it's 5,000.
Yeah, right. So speaking about what's going on.
Oh my gosh, you never stop talking. Never.
I'm on a podcast. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. That's what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm entertaining my people.
He is, definitely is.
Go watch your Teen Mom, woman. Watch the after show.
That cannot be edited out.
Watch the after show.
I don't even know. Hopefully there's an after show. They didn't make it. Oh, they didn't make an after show.
Came down there stunting on you.
I know, right? She's like, we need 2 TVs. Watching the hockey game. I can't watch my Teen Mom. Like the Red Wings are.
Don't worry, they're not great.
I know. I'll watch and then I'll leave. Anyway, so what I'm getting at, what I'm thinking about, or what I guess going towards is, I guess still trying to find a way into the medical industry. You know, if the opportunity's there, you know, creating a business or creating something in there, giving access to patients on a larger and larger scale, because really kind of my MO, you know, going back to that story way back in college, going back to like, I mean, I can talk about trying to grow pot first time we were even 12 years old, like, you know, finding a seed in a fucking in some of the bud and just popping in some dirt, like, look at this plant, like, wow, you know, knowing it was this pretty plant, not even with buds on it, just knowing it was this cool, powerful plant, like the lead plant, you know, wow, you know, behold the power, you know. But it's like I liked growing it, you know. It sparked my interest and attention from a very early on, you know. I know a lot of people are doing it, you know, and it's like you got to be something. Either if you want to do it on like a serious scale, like then that's something. Then if you want to just do it on like your home personal scale, because there's always going to be them people that just want to pop a light, you know, down in their basement or you know, now we're ultimately able to grow 12 outside. So there's going to be people that want to put 12 outside. Like we talked about earlier, you know. In the meantime, they're probably going to need access to regular flour that's clean and safe and up to their standards and consistent. If they want the Moby, maybe I can give them clones of the Moby, a one-stop shop, like that 150 plants, clones of the Moby, flour the Moby when they need it, you know. So ultimately, like I did this for my people, and knowing more than just my friends now, and knowing people that with stories that like that one gentleman that I gave a clone to and it saved his life per se, like knowing the power of beyond just my friends, like I'm trying to give more and more people access to clean and quality you know, clones, flour, you know, teams, bud, and depending on who I work with, because I don't personally do a majority of this stuff, but I try to find the right people, you know, oils, topicals, you know, whatever. So I guess, again, you know, to kind of wrap it all up, the future just is always unknown, always ever changing. But as of right now, I guess I'm just kind of in limbo and waiting. Like, I guess some other people had a couple offers, like I said, but we'll see where things go, you know.
I believe in you, brother, man. I know you're going to make it.
Well, what does that even mean, though? You know, what is making it mean, though? You know, like
what that means is that you're going to be able to do this as a viable profession until your elder years beyond mine.
Is that, see, and I don't mean to like this is just maybe an argumentative side of me talking a little bit, but is this something I really even want to do?
This will give you the ability to afford having a lifestyle while you make that decision.
Good point. Absolutely. Good point. I mean, if you look at some of the smartest people in history, like, you know, even take it to like George Washington, Ben Franklin, for example, everybody that's an American, here's a good Kyle's tip for you. You know, we all read these or listen to these audiobooks and have access to all types of shit online nowadays. If you're an American, listen to like some of our great four founding fathers. Listen to some of their memoirs, some of their writings, some of their teachings. You know, some of like history, American history, some of the great minds and how we got us to this point in our civilization, in our nation specifically, or if you want to take the world, then whatever. But Ben Franklin, you know, like they were not only politicians, but he was a lawyer, he was a doctor, he was an inventor, he was you know, all the above. You know, like,
He was a man of letters. He was a diplomat for many, 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 many years.
Right. He was a printing press. He owned a printing press. You know, he owned. You know, he did it all. You know what I mean? So it's just like, how can Kyle Gardner change the world for the better? You know, and if it's through growing pot, you know, growing medicine, growing cannabis, then so be it. If it's growing hemp, maybe. You know, if it's cleaning up the oceans, you know, ridding ourselves of plastics, you know, preaching to politicians, like who knows? You know, ultimately, like it's just, you know, it's that. What's that quote I used today? Because my 92-year-old grandma, she had surgery through some gallstones. You know, toughest woman I fucking know. Like, shout out to my grandma. Like that saying goes, it's you know, yesterday is history and tomorrow is a mystery, but today's a gift. That's why they call it the present. So enjoy today while it lasts and make the best decisions you can. You know, not only for yourself, but for the ones around you. You know, decisions we make strongly affects, you know, people, you know, not only close but far as well. So
Yeah, I like to measure what I'm doing in like happiness and smiles and stuff. And if your posts to our group chat or any consolation, growing's working really good for you because you get to ride a jet ski every day. And if I was doing that, I wouldn't change it anytime soon.
it's getting cold, man. We got a couple more hopefully rides left. I'm gonna try to ride in November before it gets real cold up here. We're up here in Michigan. For people that might be listening a little further, we're riding in the Great Lakes. But
Bro, we have listeners everywhere: Sweden, Hong Kong, Germany, Ireland.
That's where you're being heard, brother. You getting heard around the world, man. You just don't know it.
Yeah, so we're up here in Detroit by these Great Lakes here. So water temps right now about 50 degrees. I don't know what that is in Celsius. What was that? Probably like in the single digits. Got to be at least right in Celsius, or at least close. So, but yeah, I mean, again, that's kind of one of the many things. You know, you got to kind of be multi-diverse. You know.
Let me drop this on you, man. This is something that I heard years ago, and it's really true. My parents' generations used to have to change jobs a couple times in their life. You know what I mean? Maybe once or twice. My generation, you have to change professions 5 to 7 times in your life. And I have no idea what the numbers are going to be for you guys, because the world moves at such an accelerated pace, and it's just change. The thing is to be versatile, to take the opportunities when they're presented to you, to also be always a positive contributor to whatever you're involved in, and don't just try to be the man.
Amen. I mean, there's really not too much more I can add. You know, it's very well said. I got another good quote I heard recently that I kind of want to say too, and I don't know, this is kind of more of a drag on it, but anyway, it's how's it go? It says, "Tough times make tough men. Tough men make weak times, or no, make soft times. Soft times make soft men." You know,
That's very true.
I don't know, something cool I heard lately.
Civilization goes in pendulums, man. It goes from one side to the other, and it just, you know, as you get older, you start to recognize it.
All we are is dust in the wind, dude. Dust When? Dude.
Immense. Hermano. Concordios.
Again, roll with the punches and enjoy it as you comes. You know, enjoy it. Time is precious. That's one of the biggest things here. You know,
And the
that's why
cow's
it's like,
grandma.
that's why it's like everyone. Yeah, absolutely. She kept saying it too. It's like, I'm so glad you came to see me, but it's like everyone that has ever contributed to me. Like when I won that award too, it's kind of funny. I said that to a couple of my workers. It's like, and I said that leading up to it too. It's like I wanted to win for them too, because it's like, yeah, Snoop Dogg. If you guys ever heard Snoop Dogg's acceptance speech for his Hollywood star fame, he says it. He's like, he thanks a lot of people, of course, because they're the ones that helped him get there. But ultimately, like, he's like, I'm the motherfucker that woke up every morning. I'm the motherfucker that came to work and put in the hard work. Like, I'm the motherfucker that did all that shit. You know what I mean? He's like, I'm the one that did that. But at the end of the day, like, you know, that's also why I won too. Is for a lot of the people that showed up and have helped me. You know, because ultimately, like, time is precious. So for them to give up that time, you know, for whatever reason, you know, of their own, like to come help me, like that's awesome. That was awesome. So shout out to everyone. You know, anyway, my little acceptance speech here. I don't know if you guys see me on stage, if you were there or whatnot, but like I pretty much just went up there and fuck yeah a lot. Like that's kind of all I remember, because that's kind of how excited I really truly was. But you know,
any shout outs you'd like to give on the show? Like
my grandma, love my grandma, strong woman. Fuck
shout out to Kyle's grandma, strongest woman ever.
Fuck yeah. I mean, like, if you think about it, like, she's been through what, like Pearl Harbor, like, what's all the major events, like 9/11, World War II.
Damn.
Like,
You know, there are people that are, what is it, adults now that weren't alive for 9/11.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Y'all are getting old.
Black and white TV and shit like that. It was horrific back then, dude.
Well, again, like, and I hate to say it, it's kind of soft times, you know? It's like we kind of just, you know, I don't know, I was listening to the radio the other day, people just hating, you know, It's like, if someone calls, if they called in a radio station and said something stupid, like, okay, I know you're frustrated, but you don't got to call in and be like, oh, he's fucking retarded too, you know? It's just like, that's just hating on hating, you know what I mean? It's just, it's a cycle you got to break, you know? It kind of goes back to what you said a few seconds ago, like, break the
Just be
stigma,
nice.
you know?
Just be nice, man. Just engage on a certain level with people and refuse to contribute to other people's negativity.
Right. I mean, the cool thing about America is that we're a melting pot and we have all these different opinions and different views. Together we are strong. You know, if you want to take it back to the Bible, Tower of Babylon, they split the people up. Like, okay, whatever, not, but like America, we're all, you know, we all come together. You know, we're all this, we bring this, you know, great wishy-washy, which is kind of a deadly combination, because we have such, you know, different opinions and views that we're always going to be compromising. And in that case, you know, like me and my wife, like, you know, we're kind of black and white in a lot of ways. You know, either way, someone's not going to be getting their way one time, you know, that time, like, and you're going to have to accept that fact, you know. That's what kind of democracy is. But ultimately, that's what makes us so great, because, you know, we kind of pick the best option, hopefully, and move forward, you know. So it's like you gotta understand them viewpoints. You gotta understand that everyone is different and brings something different to the table. You know, some people like a pat on the back. Some people like a kick in the ass. Though, you know what I mean? Like that's the main difference. But at the end of the day, like, you gotta respect people's viewpoints. You know, instead of just going around telling them how bad they suck. Which is super easy to do.
Yeah, but it's not very well received, though, either. You just become that douchebag.
Right. Don't be that douchebag. You know?
All right, Scobo, talk us out, my friend.
I just want to say that we have had a really good time, and I know that this being part 2, that the next time that we talk to you for a part 3, things will be different. And listen, I'm just telling you, you have an open invitation to join us anytime. You know what I mean? And that's a chance for us to shout out our other show that we run on Sunday nights on our YouTube channel at Michigan Bros Grow Show. We run the Bros Show, and that airs at 9 p.m. Eastern Time.
Again, thank you guys. So awesome. Hope to do it again. Can't wait to do it again.
Yeah,
Hopefully I didn't
definitely.
say anything too insulting or too idiotic again this time. So cool.
No, man,
Appreciate
you're
the
the
time, you
best.
guys. Love the cannabis community, man. Let's keep fighting the good fight, you know. So
Thank you, Kyle. And you've been listening to the Michigan Bros Grow Show.